I talked to the kid, and after his visit, he was very upfront. And man, this is where I want to be. And very, very smart, bright guy. He's like a 4.1 GPA, and I mean has great upside. He is a long, lean 6'4" athlete that I think is going to be a heck of a player for us. And so really, that's a big pickup for us. Defensive line was not a big priority for us this year. We didn't lose a defensive lineman, and we got 6 seniors. So obviously next year that becomes a major priority. Offensive tackle and defensive line will be our major priority in the 2015 class, without question. I love the young talent that we have, so to be able to get a Jabril Robinson and to be able to get a Yergin in this year's class was big for us. And then, we got some really good redshirt guys that, even though they signed last year, they've just kind of, been off the radar, that are going to be stepping up, and Ebo and Pagano and Dane and those guys. So Dorian O'Daniels. I mean, we got some really good redshirt players that will be ready to join this group this spring too.
Yeah, but what's it feel like for you to have a class with a bunch of, or a team with a bunch of upperclassmen, instead of the way it's been the last couple of years, and how much more flexibility does that give you with these guys?
Yeah, it's different. It is. First of all, when I walk in the team room, it's totally different because the first 2 rows are seniors. I've had one row and then it's juniors mixed in. It's a different team. We've kind of flipped it, and that's just again a result of where we were several years ago. And when we won the league in 11, we had those 42 freshmen, true freshmen and redshirt freshmen, and those guys have just kind of matured on through the process. And now we got this outstanding senior group. I believe it's 19 scholarship seniors, if I'm correct. And then since we lost some juniors, so it would have been more than that. But and then we got at least as many juniors. So with that comes an expectation, a mentality. These guys know how to work. They know what it takes. They've paid the price. They've been in close games. Tim was telling me something. What'd you tell me about the close games the other day? Something about we've won. We're like 6-0 in games. Yeah, about a touchdown or less. So now you got a bunch of guys that have been in close games. They played on big stages. They've been through your system, your off seasons. They have the right kind of mentality. They're mature, much more mature team. And so I hope that leadership will resonate through the team and help us develop some of these young guys. We've had to rely on a few guys. Now hopefully we can broaden that out and just have more leadership than we've had the last couple of years from a number standpoint with those 2 classes.
Now, you think from a depth situation now, you get to the point now with this program where you're able to kind of do like some of those other elite teams do, and just if a guy leaves, you're able to just plug a guy right into place?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's the objective. I mean, it's taken a while to get here, but we've got very good quality depth, very competitive depth. So absolutely, it's hard to replace experience. I mean, it's easier to replace the talent, harder to replace the experience. We're losing Taj Boyd. That's a great player. He's very talented. We got some other very talented guys on this roster, so we're going to replace that. But the experience part of it, that's the harder thing. But as long as we continue to bring in that type of talent, we're going to be fine. And that's what good programs do. Young guys are able to play a lot more now. They're more ready than maybe it used to be years ago. Offensive line is still hard, but all the other positions, I think that young guys have a chance to play early. And so if we just keep bringing in the right kind of talent, we can continue to be successful and I guess reload as opposed to rebuild, if you will.
You mentioned the 19 scholarship seniors. So is that kind of the number you're working with for 2015?
No, we'll project out a full class probably, because again, you always have a little bit of attrition. Somebody, we'll have a couple of juniors that'll probably end up leaving. You'll have an academic. Somebody maybe doesn't qualify. There's all those things. So I would say that we'll be, in line for 20 to 25 guys, pretty much a full class.
Any particular positions particularly important in next year's group?
Yeah, offensive tackle and defensive line. There's no question. Those are the critical needs. I mean, you're always trying to fill spots all across the roster, but we got to hit it. We got 6 senior defensive linemen. And we've only had 1 senior around here in 2 years. And that was Malachi. So we've been growing these guys up, and they've developed into really, really good players. So the guys that are here have to really develop this year, because I think we're going to have some guys that when we lose Vic, we can, boom, plug another guy in. When we lose Grady Jarrett, boom, we got another guy ready to go. So that's important, but we've got to go out in this class, and we have got to really, really do a great job, signing defensive ends and defensive tackles. And then offensively, losing Gift Timothy off cycle, he had another year left. Losing DeStefano, who had 3 years left, that's really hurt us at that position. So depth-wise, I like the guys we have on campus, but we've got to go and sign some tackles in this next group.
It seems like in years past, you've been able to recruit at the highest levels for running backs, receivers, and defensive players. But maybe there's a perception out there that you haven't done it consistently on the offensive line. Is that right? What do you think about that?
Oh, I totally disagree with that. Just look at the guys that have come out of here. I think we've had some pretty good players. In fact, I saw Dalton Freeman in here the other day, but the guys that we've signed here, Ryan Norton, I mean, what a player. He's exactly what we needed. Jay Guillermo, on his way. Mac Lane, on his way. Even though he was signed as a tight end, but he's developing into what we want him to. Joe Gore's a guy that has all the talent. We need him to take that step this year. Isaiah Battle is going to be a first-round draft pick one day, if we can just keep him heading in the right direction. So Brandon Thomas is fixing to be a high draft pick, back-to-back first-team All-ACC. So I think he did pretty good. Tyler Shatley is fixing to go to the NFL. We got some guys in the NFL right now that are coming off this roster. So Taylor Hearn and Justin Falcinelli are and I mean this in a nice way, they're dirtbags, and those guys are what you want. Crowder is going to be a great player. I think we've hit a home run on the guys that we brought in here. We love Maverick Morse, who redshirted this year. But we hadn't had a lot of seniors over the last few years. Dalton was the only senior that we had last year, and he's doing pretty good. Saw him today. He's in the NFL. They usually don't give them jobs away. Those are usually pretty hard to get. Got to be a pretty good player to do that. And then this year we'll have 2 seniors, Brandon Thomas and Shatley, that I think both make it. And then next year we only got 2 seniors, or 2 starters that are seniors, and then Reed Webster is a backup for us. So Kalen Davis and Beasley both have the ability to play on the next level. If that's the measure of a good offensive lineman, I don't know. But I'd like to say that we've set about every record in the history around here, and you don't do that without some offensive linemen getting their job done. That's for sure. So I think those guys deserve a little credit.
Obviously, Deshaun came in early to thrust himself into competition this spring. How realistic is that right now, do you think, for him to not only compete but perhaps even rise in that competition?
Well, I mean, it's huge because it gives him a realistic chance. Because you're talking about, listen, Cole Stout and Chad Kelly are elite players. In my opinion, I think they're both next-level players, regardless of what happens with our quarterback situation. And so for him to be able to come in and go through spring ball and compete, that gives him a much better opportunity as opposed to just showing up, and getting in camp in August. But he is an elite talent. There's no doubt about that, and an elite person with great work ethic and very, very smart football IQ guys. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun to see these guys get out there and compete, and whoever runs out there is going to be prepared and going to be able to win for us.
Will y'all try to sign 2 quarterbacks next year?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, that's our plan right now. Is to sign, 2 quarterbacks, because we're going to lose, Cole for sure, and because he is a senior. And you look at our roster. I mean, most teams have 5 or 6 quarterbacks on the roster, and you look at where we are. Come January of next year, we're pretty thin at that position. We got really, really quality talent, but we don't have depth, and so we've got to go out and sign a couple guys in this class.
So would you venture one way or the other, likelihood, unlikely, that he could be the starter by September?
If he wins the job, I mean, that's up to him. If he can win the job, he'll be the starter. If Cole wins the job, he'll be the starter. If Chad wins the job, he'll be the starter. But is he good enough? Absolutely. He's definitely good enough. But so are them other guys. So everything counts. It's a very competitive situation, and again, a very healthy situation and positive. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see it play out.
I know we talked about the ACC a bunch during the season. Did what the league did do this year overall, has it opened any doors, maybe not only with this class, but with 15 and 16 and on? Is it?
Well, that depends on y'all and what y'all write, and ESPN and all that stuff. We just keep doing what we're doing, and I'm really proud of our conference. I think we won every major award in college football is in this conference. So, I think we're doing all right. I don't know that that's ever happened, to be honest with you. I mean, literally, like just about every award is in this conference. We won the national championship in this conference. Hopefully it can be Clemson next. But we got some really good football teams. Had a couple BCS winners this past year. So, we're recruiting at a high level. And there's a lot of great things going on with this conference, athletically and academically. We really don't take a back seat to anybody. I say that all the time. But we just got to continue that. We got to continue to have some dominant teams. And if we do that, then eventually that cycle will break.
Are you seeing that have some effect when you talk to recruits who maybe now want to be part of the ACC?
We just keep doing what we do. We just don't get caught up in that stuff. I mean, we just sell Clemson. I mean, it's as I say all the time, it's not about a conference. It's about a program, and it's about what a young person's opportunity is within your program, and the people in the program, and how you do. Some people want to sell a league. That's the best thing they got to sell. Well, if that's the best thing they got to sell, that's what they got to do. But man, we got all kind of good things to sell here. This is a elite program, a top 10 program, and that's winning as consistently as anybody in the country, on and off the field. And so we don't take a back seat to anybody when it comes to recruiting. And the thing about Clemson that really makes it neat is it really attracts a certain kind of guy. And so I think we have a very unique situation here. And if you're passionate about it and you know this place and we stay committed, we can recruit the best of the best every single year. No question.
How was beating LSU and Ohio State back-to-back years help with the 015 and 016 guys when you go into their homes?
Just credibility. I mean, it's bottom line. I mean, again, 5 years ago, talk is one thing, but when you've done some things, it helps. There's no doubt. Our brand is totally different there than it was 5 years ago. I mean, people they're either talking bad or talking good about Clemson, but they're talking about Clemson, and our brand is really, really powerful. Right now, and that's a result of a lot of success. LSU's beat a lot of teams, and when we can go beat them, and Ohio State 24-1 coming into our game, when we can find a way to win those games on those type of stages, then again it just helps you. But it's not just those games; it's all the games. I mean, 11 wins back-to-back years. That's huge for us. It's the consistency. And with the consistency that we've had on the field and off the field, it's allowed us to have the consistency in the recruiting world. And, you know, I think they all go hand in hand.
You mentioned that earlier, his impact really in half a recruiting cycle. You mentioned how much he did. With him around now for an entire recruiting cycle in 15, do you expect his role to expand? You want to change, alter some things? Did you see this as sort of a tryout period to see what worked and what didn't with him?
Well, I think anytime that you have a new position, there's always things you're learning. And that's kind of what I told him when he came in here is you know, do a lot of listening and learning, you know, how we do things. And he's very bright. And he's got a lot of great ideas and a lot of good experience. So he's helped us a ton in a lot of different areas, a lot of little things too. So I don't have any doubt that as he gets through this year, just like all of us in anything that we do, you get better, you know, if you care and you have pride in what you do. You're always trying to get better. It's like, hey, we're trying to get better as coaches. I wore a tie for y'all this year, trying to get better. You know, so, but you know, everybody's got to get better, and I don't have any doubt that Thad will learn a lot from his experience this year, and you know, be even better next year.
Talk about no drama. Is that just indicative of the rollback in the calendar and how things are approached now, where you have so much of it done that?
I just think it's year to year. I just think it depends on the kids, the situations that you're involved with, the support at home, you know, whatever. I think all of those things are factors. And this year, we really just were on a great group of young men that knew what they wanted. There wasn't a lot of doubt, and they were very focused on what they wanted. And again, had great support systems in place at home. You know, some of the situations that we've dealt with in the past, that was not the case. And you know, these are young people. These are young kids, and you know, they can be swayed one way or the other. But this group, you know, was one of those years that you just enjoy. And I don't have any doubt when it's all said and done, this will be one of the best groups that we've signed, if not the best group. Just simply because I think they're all dialed in, they're all focused. Like these mid-year guys that are here, I mean, they're just, you know, they don't look like freshmen. They don't act like freshmen. They don't walk around here like freshmen. And, you know, I think that's indicative of this entire class. I think it's, you know, a very, very mature group, a very focused group, and that knew what they wanted and wanted to be a part of the way we do things. So they didn't jump into their decision, you know, just on a whim. There was all these guys did their research. All these guys did. I mean, you talk about Mylan Richard. I mean, Mylan Richard. I mean, his mama is Herschel's sister. Okay, yeah, you talk about a major decision. You know, and for him to choose to come be a part of Clemson, that is a huge thing for us. But not only that is we get his Bill and Veronica, we get his parents. These are great people that'll be all in here at Clemson. There's no doubt about it. And you can just go down the list, and all of these guys. I mean, you know, Adam Choice, what a special young man, special parents, and they did so much research. So when they made their decision, it wasn't on a whim. Hey, Falcinelli, you know, Jeffrey Gibson, we were going to take one DB in this class. We were going to take one. Obviously, that wasn't a huge emphasis for us this year because last year that was a major need. And, you know, we just felt like as a staff, he had the best package, you know, the best upside, you know, the everything. Just when you're looking at that position. And, you know, man, what a great kid. Great support system. His sister has raised him, and it wasn't a decision that they made on a whim. They really did their time, their due diligence. And Taylor Hearn, same thing. I mean, Taylor Hearn, you know, just an incredible family, and they did their research. They went around. It wasn't just something they said, "Oh, let's do this." So I think all of these guys, you know, Damari Kitt, you know, obviously we signed Kyron last year, Chris Reddister, Jabril, Corey Rogers. Corey Rogers could have gone anywhere. Artavis. Artavis came up here for camp. Cannon Smith, Alex Spence. I mean, there's all these, Travion, Deshaun. These guys did their homework. And when they made the decision, as like most all these guys early, to say, I'm coming to Clemson, they meant it. They meant it. And it's been good to watch them develop.
You've been criticized by,